All right, we have another TNT Championship Season 2 2023 competitive league match here. We're going to get into R22 versus Fleur. In the bottom left, we have R22. And on the top right, we've got Fleur de Lis. Okay, cool comps from both sides here. Fleur without his badger, but Fleur is a big ferret player as well. Love to see the lizards. I think lizards are a little slept on. They can be very powerful, especially against skunk. Generally speaking, in my experience, Squizzard tends to beat squirrel skunk. You throw some moles in the mix and it gets a little bit tougher for the lizards there. But generally, overall, I think that there's a lot of play to be had with Squizzard. Also, just the map advantage, map control can be very powerful for a lot of reasons. Looking at the spawn here, kind of a weird map. I mean, R22's got this nice back pocket expansion. Oh my gosh, there is a sneaky little route here. I would love to see Fleur run some lizards through this back alley into that base later on. 8 farm mill from R22, so very greedy. Meanwhile, Fleur just committed to 1 Warren so far, probably deciding if he wants to get a early mill, early tier 2. Let's see what the decision is. I don't think he has to take a second tier 1 Warren. Yep, just going to go ahead and match that expansion greed. And if this game goes long, Fleur has just an incredible map, in my opinion. I mean, he's got a pocket base as well that's very easy to defend. Fleur can start getting up here, taking all this. It's not the end of the world for R22. I mean, there's a nice base down here that if R22 can kind of control the map at this point, R22 still has access to like 4 mills pretty handedly. I'm so excited for this back alley. Like, I really want to see some lizards run through it, but I don't want to get my hopes up either. Alright. So, macro game on our hands here. Both players with the gentleman's agreement, the handshake. Let's just pump up into mid-game. And on the mid-game, I think R22's got a pretty strong composition. Cam Falcon Wolf would be great to see. Even just Cam Falcon Squirrel Mole could be a very powerful push. I don't think the skunks are going to be very needed this game, but that's also going to depend on if Fleur commits to some lizards or not. And yeah, I think that from Fleur's perspective, the ferrets are probably going to be more of a late game unit. To just kind of imagine, you know, this really becomes a contention point, and Fleur can just sit back, you know, from his side of the map with defender's advantage, and slowly just kind of, you know, poke down some pigs, poke down some Warrens. Oh my god, a tier 2 Warren right here. This is so juicy, Fleur. Oh, he didn't quite see that it connects. I gotta stop thinking about lizards. It's not gonna happen. If it was gonna happen, I think Fleur would already have them by now. Fleur has not scouted the path, no. I mean, he's scouted most of it. He could probably infer. But it's not something that seems to be a priority for Fleur. Instead, going to go for a third base and Greed Lords today. We are just sitting back, macroing up, and going straight to the late game. So this is where composition is going to be critical in scouting as well. Oh, I love this play by R22. I don't think Fleur can stop it, yeah. Even if he tries to get his units over here. Oh, yeah, he still gets it. Damn, sell it. See you later, nerd. A little bit of food advantage. In a game with large economies like this, not going to matter too much. Everything's kind of relative, right? So in a game where we're talking huge economies, losing 60 bucks is not... It's pretty negligible. Wolf on the way for R22. Where is that sucker hiding? Actually not hiding much at all. And as Fleur scouted, Fleur has seen it. and Fleur is just going to respond with a bunch of greed. I like this a lot. You do have quite a bit of time. However, the attack is coming soon, so if Fleur can weather this storm, he's going to be in a great spot to end the game with money later on. I mean, he's late game capitalism bellified over here. He's too big to fail. But R22's got a pretty powerful push. The Wolf is not the scariest tier 3 in the world when it comes to timings, but this is really the make or break moment for R22. R22 has a little bit of the tech advantage here with that Wolf. Can he get anything done with it is the question. Fleur's got quite a robust army himself. He's got the defender's advantage, but let's see. Big attack coming in. No, R22 is going to be careful here. Doesn't want to overcommit. Really wants to get the buff on those Falcons. R22 doing some okay damage. You know, getting some more ends here, kind of trading alright, but Fleur's actually getting a lot of momentum in these longer fights. Due to that Skunk Falcon comp, I mean, it's just very strong, Skunk Falcon. And yeah, Fleur is able to defend that no problem. Maybe even more cost effectively, so R22 not trying to fall too far behind in economy. Would love to sneak his Falcons over to that third base and kind of harass it for free, but would put his units pretty out of position. And then go in again, but Fleur is able to stand his ground very well. Okay, now Fleur is starting to scoot back a little bit. Gonna let that mill go. Things are starting to look better for R22. He might actually just crack Fleur here. Those Falcons getting the Wolf buff. Exactly the units that you wanted on. Oh man, I think R22 is peeling the onion. Some really great control from both sides here. R22 with a lot of discipline in these fights. Really doing his best not to overcommit. Some great micro coming out from R22. And I think maybe he's done it. Fleur's trying to muster up a bunch of Falcons, but I mean, honestly, R22 has a lot of Falcons as well, and Wolf buff Falcons are better than non-Wolf buff Falcons, and there it is. R22 takes it with some really strong decision making, in my opinion, as far as when to go in, when not to go in. All right, let's get into match number 2. Man, I thought Fleur had that in the bag with the better economy. On the left-hand side, R22, and over the top right Fleur. It doesn't look like either side changed deck. That's always a fun philosophy to see how competitive players like to think about it. I mean, on one hand, you know, you can say, I think this is the best deck, so therefore this is what I'm going to use, or this is what I'm most comfortable with. But also, catching your opponent off guard with some units they don't expect can be very powerful as well. And Fleur, though, never used Lizard or Ferret in the last game, so Fleur could do different builds with the same deck. You know, imagine if Fleur just like goes for some early Lizard aggression, or goes for like 18 Lizards, something like that. I mean, that's a whole different playstyle utilizing the same composition here. Just gotta let this match heat up a little bit. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I plan on streaming every weekend, at least a few matches, but depending on how much just kind of needs to get picked up, I might do more. It's just kind of this dichotomy between making sure everybody who wants to stream has replays to be able to stream, but then also making sure that every match gets casted right. So, quick skunk from Fleur. Quick expand from R22. Actually sells it and decides to go for his own tier 2. on the back of scouting the tier 2 for the opponent. I think that's fine. I think he would have been okay with the expansion as well. But a little bit worried about aggression. If Fleur does decide to get really aggressive, then something can happen. And this is a danger about, you know, selling your tier 1 Warrens to get that tier 2 out faster. Is if your opponent scouts that, they could potentially come in and try to do something. Timing didn't quite work out for R22 there, and I like that he just decided to pull back rather than risk some squirrels. Does come in and scout the expansion. Has not taken an expansion of his own yet, so both players just sticking with one tier 2 for now. I'd imagine R22 would like to expand. No, R22 is just going to wait for both his chameleons and try to push. And he really just gave that away to Fleur. Good scouting there from Fleur to see those mole warrants. So now Fleur knows exactly what R22 is doing. Probably wants to wait for his second cam to get here. Maybe wait for one more round of moles to go in with 4 moles. No, he's just going to go right now. Cams are going to come in here and tank. R22's commander goes down, though. And so does Fleur, actually, but Fleur spawns back at home. And Fleur cleans it up, no problem. Both sides trading their tier 2s. However, R22 losing a lot more in that fight because he did invest in those moles. And when you sell those mole warrants, you don't get a full return on your money there. Alright, Fleur continuing to develop here. Double tier 2 out of R22. Fleur's in a really good spot now. That attack from R22 did not quite work out. 2 cams is sometimes not enough to try to do that. And the big thing with the cams, though, can be keeping them alive, right? Like, let them get in there and tank, and then the micro trick with the cam is just to sneak it out when it's about to die. But since R22's commander went down, he was not able to do that. So overall, I think Fleur's in a great spot here, going up to double cam. Meanwhile, R22, a cam and a skunk here. And Falcon, so a little bit of the cavalcade of tier 2. And although Fleur kind of gave R22 a black eye in that first big attack, R22 is definitely still in this game. It was not really critical damage. And then that difference in money is going to matter less and less if we continue on to a macro game here. This is an important scout for R22. Sees the greed. Now he can feel safe coming home and matching that same greed. Yeah, I'd like to sell off the Squirrel Warren. Oh, actually going to get the Wolf going. Yeah, I would continue. I would even argue to sell another Warren just to get these farms out. We're going to be patient. Oh no, Fleur doesn't see the wolf. Okay, but Fleur is going for an owl anyways. R22 did not take that last farm. Probably running home to do that now. Fleur just relying on the owl plus skunk in a lot of tier 1. I would love to see Fleur try to utilize the lizards a little bit more. I mean, this is a great map to try to be a little sneaky bastard and come in with lizards like that or something. I think that's really the strength of lizards, is just their ability to kind of backstab and run around the map and be a nuisance. Because it is very hard in Tooth and Tail to kind of cover all of your fronts. So lots of selling Warrens, putting down new ones, kind of trying to fine-tune the army composition. And third base on the way for R22. Double owl, I like that a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of a single owl. to be honest. I really don't think it's that impactful. Owl is just one of those units that scales. I mean, we can see it be very impactful. I think in Mishi versus Tatanka, I remember a match where like one of them had a single owl and it ended up winning the game just because they got so much repeated value over time with it. Which is where a single owl can be good if you're just running the mice over, picking off a couple squirrels, kind of making it pretend to be a fox, you know? Some stinky fights coming in here. Ooh, that skunk almost going down. Yeah, both players a little bit hesitant on committing here. Now that we're in these late game kind of death ball armies, it's really going to come down to the next attack. I mean, one side is just going to kind of get the upper hand and win decisively. There are situations where that doesn't happen, but 9 times out of 10, when you get big death ball armies like this, one side is just going to win the fight and then push through. So that's why neither side really wants to commit to moving out. Because it's like, oh, if I commit to moving out and I'm wrong, then I lose the game. Here we go, Fleur coming in. With the double owl. And it is becoming too much for R22 to handle. All those mice on the ground, backed up by the Skunks and Falcons. Skunk Falcon Owl is such a strong comp. I would even like to see Fleur sell off some of the tier 1 to get into more Falcon. Ooh, that wolf needs to stay alive. Okay, it does. Alright, R22's got the wolf and a ton of tier 2. Yeah, I like this comp a little bit better. Yeah, I think Fleur just needs to sell the tier 1. At this point in the game, the tier 1 are not relevant. Especially because R22 has skunks. So Fleur, I think the 4 skunks, and then start putting in more falcons, more owls. Fleur looking to do a little bit of harassment, but comes back. Oh man, this is a really cool game. Alright, Fleur pushing forward. There's a lot of gas on the ground. It looks like R22 is able to hold the door. Sorry to push back. The Wolf Buff Falcons just starting to do so much work. Fleur's army getting shredded. R22 chasing them down. The Wolf Buff also gives you additional movement speed. So if R22 can really get the kill on these owls, and they both go down. But with those owls going down, I think Fleur's hopes of winning this game do as well. R22 has cracked open the gate here and is pushing in for more and more damage. R22 on fire today. Alright. Let's move into game number 3. It's funny, on the right-hand side, we've got R22. And in the top, Fleur de Lis. R22 going over to a boar build this time around. Meanwhile, Fleur sticking to his guns on the composition. This is such a weird map because it really seems like R22 is supposed to spawn like down here or something. Like, look at all these mills over here, you know, they're like a little bit awkward. It's actually kind of a cool map. It's relatively balanced. Small rush distance, even though it's a very large map. Both players start with a natural expansion on the high ground, but this is what I'm worried about. This is such a small attack distance, especially when Fleur takes this expansion, which he definitely will. I mean, these guys are not playing one base games. They've been expanding every map so far, but part of that is also based on the map layout. So I would be a little bit hesitant to be super greedy when the rush distance is this low. This might work out very well for Fleur, though, if he goes into a ferret build. Tier 2, 8 farm skunk. Coming out of Fleur, I think this is way too greedy. I think if R22 comes home and just slams down some tier 1, could probably punish that. But no, gonna go for the tier 2 as well. Yeah, I mean, both players have a natural base up on the high ground. Then there's like 2 bases in the middle, and then there's, you know, a 6 o'clock and a 9 o'clock that are kind of open for anybody to try to ninja. Double tier 2 coming out of Fleur. Going to the Falcons as well. Alright, Fleur trying to get that expansion. Yeah, now our territories are going to touch. Their territories are about to be holding hands here. Watch this. This is how short this rush distance is. And this is such greed from from Fleur. I think R22 is making the right play. One tier 2 Warren, a bunch of squirrels. Even got some pigeons here to help deal with the skunk gas, heal up the cams. Can Fleur hold this? I mean, Fleur's had some really good defensive micro with these skunks and falcons. If Fleur can start peppering in more tier 1, my worry is that he's only got 6 squirrels right now. He needs to throw down some more squirrel warrens. Like now. He's floating so much money. There you go. Or lizards, that's fine too. Alright, this is starting to look good for Fleur, and R22 is going to decide not to push the issue too much and risk overcommitting. I'm going to come back home here and expand. And we might actually be going to a mid-game here. R22 really greeting up on the farms, and here are those ferrets I was telling you about. And if Fleur can just kind of hold about right here and just start shelling with the ferrets and really taunting R22, and then come at me bro fashion, could essentially win this game. Now R22 getting some falcons, those are going to be able to contest those ferrets pretty easily. Both sides about half saturation on that second base. 5-minute mark and about 20 seconds. So both players did get that second base operational at least enough to mitigate the farms beginning to fallow on the main. Ferret moving forward here. Yeah, with the Falcons coming in. Also good commander, like cheesing, I don't know what the best word is griefing in a way, like making the ferrets pointlessly shoot at the commander. I don't know if there's enough distance, like R22 stuff's all back here. There are no warrens up front, and there we go, R22 is going to take that 6 o'clock. And the ferret harassment is going to begin. Fleur needs to be careful though, those falcons could pretty quickly shoot this down, but the lizards are going to come in and intercept the falcons. Good pickup from R22. Decides not to commit to the fight though. Fleur wants to go for it. Looking for the right angle. Lots of falcons in the air for Fleur here. Needs to target down the opponent falcons. R22 is able to defend quite nicely. Fleur trying to just commit to this natural base. It's kind of risky. He's going to lose a lot of his army for it, but he gets it. R22 in a devastated position now, starving. R22 does have that 6 o'clock base, but no farms on it. Gonna have to come down here, Q1 up, come back out and sell. He's got a boar on the way. Is the boar the best decision? I mean, Fleur knows about it. Fleur's got falcons. And the fact that Fleur was able to just snipe that second base, I mean, it doesn't really matter that R22 took the better fight. If Fleur can rebuild, by the time R22 didn't win by a large enough margin to really counter push. But, I mean, at the same time, R22 does have 6 falcons, so maybe this push can work. He's really got to go return the favor to Fleur immediately. This push has to eliminate the second base of Fleur, or else R22 is Dunyan rings here. So let's see if he can pull it off. Trying to find the right angle. This is very a tense moment here for R22, but his falcons are getting pounced on by the tier 1. The board is going to have to engage, and Fleur was able to take this far enough away from the expansion where the goal of eliminating the opponent's second base, evening out the eco differential, did not happen there. So Fleur gonna put a point on the board. We got a series on our hands now. Let's hop into match number 4. Okay. Spawning on the right-hand side, R22, and at the bottom floor. Both sides generally sticking to their guns on their decks. And man, Fleur could not ask for a better spawn. Look at this. I always call it the castle. I don't know why. It just looks like a castle to me. 4 mills right here. Come on, man. Come on, man. Now, R22 is just fine as well. Easily has arguably, R22 has access to more resources. But Fleur's is just so nice and tight. I mean, only 1 entrance to all this too. Like, man. The little moat. It's even got a little moat. I mean, what more can you want? So I would guess we are going to be having a macro game here. At least that's the direction I'd want to take this if I was Fleur. So not a lot to say here. After this one, we're going to go into an open division, best of 5. And then I might look at kind of how we're generally doing on replays and decide if I want to pick up another set or not. Again, it's just a balance of making sure like whoever wants to cast has access to replays, but then also making sure, you know, there's not too much of a backlog and there's like 20 replays that need to be casted or something. But we'll see. We'll see. Definitely one more best of 5 after this. Maybe a little bit more if I feel up to it, and I think that there's enough replays that still need to get taken care of. So it is indeed a macro game. Both sides agreeing to eco up, and we've seen that a lot today. Players really just wanting to get into these second bases, not applying a lot of pressure, like pre-5 minutes. And we're on our way up to 16 farms. I mean, if I was either player here and I scouted that, I would just immediately go to the 16 farms on my second base. Bam, bam, there it is. So 16 farms from both sides before the 3-minute mark. That is what I call a macro game. Skunk's on the way from R22. I wonder how fast you can just slam down a tier 3 in this position. I mean, your economy is just so good, yeah. The wolf goes down. And Fleur would probably respond. If I was Fleur, I'd probably respond with double owl. No, instead gonna get into another expansion. And a lot of tier 1, interesting. So since he saw that wolf Warren going down, and he saw it pretty quickly too, You know that you're going to be safe for about the next minute and a half. So I'm a little bit surprised Fleur is going for so much tier 1. There's the owl. I'd even like to see double owl here. I would probably go like double owl and then big third base farming. Fleur gonna scout this mill very quickly. Yeah, and then this is gonna let him confirm. It's going to more and more eco. Look at this greed, man. Oh, the Falcon harass. Very nicely done from R22. Only picks up 1 pig. Oh, but will the lizards get there in time? Oh my gosh. Gets back. Hero Falcon. And the wolf is almost done where the owl just started. So if R22 really pulled the trigger as soon as that wolf spawned, he would have a window where he's got the wolf and Fleur does not have their tier 3 of choice. So for now, just gonna have the wolf buff the pigs. Smart move, might as well. Get that money faster. Alright, and again, we're gonna kind of get stuck in this spot where both players are gonna be hesitant to really commit to an attack. So I think both sides are should probably get like 4 skunk and then really start scaling up on falcons. I could honestly even see R22 considering 6 skunks against the owls. I don't know, maybe 6 is too much. 4, absolutely. I think R22 should definitely get into some more skunks. I don't know if he's confirmed the owls yet, though. Where's R22's commander? Oh, he just went in and died, so he probably did see the owls. Fleur is actually going to commit here to an attack. The skunks from Fleur going down very quickly. This is not looking the best for Fleur so far. Oh, but the wolf goes down. That is absolutely huge. Oh, Fleur's pulling back, but I think he could have pushed forward there. Getting the kill on the wolf was amazing there for Fleur. I don't think the cams are the best unit in composition right now for R22. I mean, I guess Cam Wolf is a good combo. But I don't know if you really want them against a bunch of mice. Alright, Fleur moving in again. Yeah, this cam's kind of just getting deleted here. Fleur's army's a little bit split, although the skunks are getting gas down where needed. R22 defends much better this time around. Yeah, R22 is starting to get that Falcon Ball, and that's really what you want in the late game. There's just so much DPS so fast. Now that the wolf is coming back out, yeah, I think Fleur just needs to drop the tier 1, invest into more tier 2, or more Falcons, really. Trying to get on that 4th base economy. Fleur has had a better economy most of this game, so that's why sometimes R22 will take better engagement before it's still fine with it. Now, lizards are good against falcons, to be fair. Let's see how each side are going to kind of fine-tune their top as we continue to move forward. Still just lots of tier 1 from Fleur, even committing to more tier 1 here. So maybe just hoping to answer the falcons from the opponent with the tier 1. That's my guess. Just kind of overwhelming numbers. I mean, you combine all those mice with lizard and squirrel. You just have such a ground force. And look at this. Fleur absolutely running over R22's comp here. Yeah, I really think those cams were not the best choice there for R22. They died quite a bit, and were just really expensive to have to continue to rebuild. So yeah, all that tier 1 actually did work out for Fleur. Nice. Nicely done. Tying this up and going to game number 5. As we look on the left-hand side, R22, and up top, Fleur. R22 ditching the skunks for the moles. So I wonder if he wants to play a little bit more aggressive, more early to mid-game. Because without the skunks, I mean, you can kind of assume Fleur will have owls. Fleur's been playing owls every match. And skunks are really, really good against owl. So dropping the skunk for mole makes me think maybe R22 wants to go for a more of an early game, big game punch. Maybe do like a 4-cam opener with some squirrels and moles. Fleur has got a pretty good spawn up here though. Does have a backdoor open. Both sides do as well. It's actually pretty symmetrical spawns. They're on high ground with 2 bases, and they both have backdoors available for harassment. But Fleur's the only one with the lizards there. And then, yeah, look at this map. It's actually very symmetrical the more I look at it. And then they have additional bases kind of going out this way and this way. A couple cabins here closer to Fleur's side. That's really the only difference. This is a good map for the final round of a best of 5 for sure. It always kind of feels bad when, you know, it's game number 5 and somebody just has bad map gen or something, but I don't know, I think modern Tooth and Tail map gen's been pretty decent. R22 with the fast Falcon opener, kind of interesting. I wonder what the game plan is with that. Maybe try to abuse this clip. And we see another macro game here from these players. Fast Falcons for Fleur as well. I mean, the Falcons don't get slowed down by water. The Falcons can try to do some cliff abuse. But generally speaking, I think Falcon's kind of like the worst tier 2 to get early like this. Mostly because it's just bad against tier 1. Double Falcon from R22. What is this bad man doing? Oh my god. Look at this. Look at this build. Double Falcon into 16 farms. This is just really nodding that you know your opponent's not aggressive. Because if you do this against an aggressive opponent, you just die. And Fleur is going to try to punish this. Some moles on the way for R22. Let's see if R22 can stand their ground. It's a lot of squirrels. I agree with Fleur, man. Go in. Falcons are not good against squirrels in numbers like these. Alright, R22's absolute greed. Attempting to be punished by Fleur. And R22 is holding off those 4 Falcons. Just dealt so much damage. DPS down the opponent's Falcons so fast. And look at this, R22 was able to make enough tier 1 warrants in time. So insane. He got away with it. He can't keep getting away with it, chat. R22 coming for the counter push here. Sensing weakness, sensing blood in the water. Building mole warrens on the way, building pigeon warrens on the way. A little bit too big for his britches here, as Fleur was able to muster up enough squirrels to kind of bat this away. And, ooh, forgetting about that mole warren. Okay, what a cool game so far. Good decision making by Fleur, by the way, to saturate up the zone base after that attack. And the wolf on the way for R22, so now would be a good time for some cams, I think. Not gonna go with any cams this match, actually just going for the Falcons. And I'm a little disappointed in Fleur's lack of lizards, man. He's had lizards like every game. I love lizards, I think they're really fun, I think they're really high skill unit. But I'm just looking at this like, man, I just want like 6 lizards to come in here and get some bacon, you know? Double owl this time. After scouting the wolf, I agree with that 100%. Triple owl even, let's go. Now he needs to be careful about his anti-air. Needs more falcons. Oh, R22. Let's go. He's a backdoor man. Fleur's in position though. Gonna pull back for now. 4 cams on the way. Oh, this is tough. Like, I think Fleur is just building the better army, right? Like, Skunk, Falcon, Owl is probably the strongest army in the game. I know that's like a very rage-inducing statement to make. People have strong opinions, but I think when you talk about scaling into large economies, like just dumping money in owls and falcons, like you really can't go wrong. I mean, as Lego Man says in the chat, like, I agree, R22 really needed to push right when that wolf came out, because I just don't think his army competes with Fleur's, especially now that he doesn't have skunks to deal with the mice. And Fleur is able to get away with having all the owls. I think if R22 continued to scale on Cam Falcon, maybe, but there's still a lot of tier 1 in this comp. And, oh my god, can he catch this owl? That would be huge. I know Fleur's coming in. That owl does go down. Are the cams enough to kind of be the front line against these mice? You know, without the skunks, you're really relying on the cams. Cams getting the wolf buff, though, is absolutely huge. Cams turn into Giga Chad mode with that buff. Oh, and Fleur is backed up into the corner. Fleur's army goes down, and R22, with a good move out with a lot of falcons, takes the series.